All right, good morning. Just after 8 o'clock, let's continue with our top story. We bring you rolling coverage here. Questions, in fact, in our top story now, starting things off. Questions are being asked about the authorities' accountability for the Marikana Massacre at the Lonmin platinum mine near Rustenburg in the northwest 13 years ago. Well, for more on the story, let's cross to SABC News reporter Tabiso Moss. Tabiso, earlier on you painted the picture as we edge closer to that commemoration kicking off. What's happening on your end as we speak?
Thank you very much, Lizelle. Good morning to you and our viewers at home. You'll remember that the demand for higher wages was at the center of, the wildcat strike by Lonmin platinum mine workers at the time in 2012, which happened a few days before the 2012 Marikana Massacre. But I just want to bring onto the conversation one of the unions, just to talk to us about, how has the wages increased over the past few years since the Marikana Massacre. I'm bringing onto the conversation the Deputy President of AMCU and Deputuma Manyati, just to talk to us about how has the situation improved as far as wages are concerned. Deputy President, thank you very much for joining us on SABC News Channel 4 this morning. Let us talk to that issue of the wages. At the time, during 2012, workers were pushing for higher wages because they were earning 4,000, 5,000 rand a month at the time. How has the situation improved thus far?
Yeah, when we started, we were earning 3,000 rand. And we never demanded higher wages. We demanded a living wage, a decent living wage. So up to so far, over the past 12, 13 years, we're now sitting at the lowest at 16,000, 17,000, depending on the company. That is where we're at now. We have pushed over the past 12 years, making sure that we are getting decent increases over the years. It's not where we wanted them to be. We wanted them to be by now to pay 25,000, but we're right there around 16,000, 17,000. Yes.
And what are you doing currently to achieve that? The wages that kept with the pace of the inflation as well as the cost of living. What are you doing to push for that in the next few years?
Yeah, in fact, what we have done, we have just abandoned the issue of the percent, because the percent is good when you are earning well enough. But a 6% or a 7% of 1,000 is almost nothing. So we have converted to the rand value. We'll tell you, we want an increase of 1,000 rand or an increase of 1.5, because that is where we're at now. Because if you look at the loaf of bread, it's 20 rand. Now, if you've got 20 multiplied by 30 days, it's already 600 a month. So if you give me anything less than 600 rand a month, you're not even covering bread, not even spread bread or eggs or anything, just pure bread will cost you 600 rand a month. So that is what we have done. We have found the winning formula of not talking about the percent. Yes, it works well for those that are earning well, but for us who still down there, we need rand value. Then we can calculate whether we are going to cover for our transport or we're going to cover for bread, just for a single loaf of bread per day.
Just in a nutshell, in a minute, less than a minute actually, talk to us about the relations between the unions and the mining companies.
It will never be actually a good one, because they don't understand our problem. All what we actually saying is that let's benefit from the minerals that we are mining. We're not mining sand. We are mining one of the precious metal, PGM, with all its byproduct. So we want a decent living wage. Let us share. And that is what they don't understand because of the trade agreement. They want to they actually export everything, and we are left with nothing. How can such a rich land like this one, where we're currently staying, mining platinum, but there are squatter camps all over there? It tells you that all what they want is those minerals and nothing for us.
Thank you so much. That's Ntate Putuma, the Deputy President of AMCU, talking to us about, how has the situation improved as far as wages are concerned, saying that they are still going to push for living wage in the next or in this, current situation. Just to talk to us about also the working relations, talking to us about the working relations between the unions and the mine workers. And let me go to our colleague Lebogang Mpebe, who's on the other side here in Marikana.
uthixo ugcine mntana womntu nabantwana bakho.
All right, so of course, Tabi Somos and Lebogang Pebe, our reporters, they're on the ground at the Marikana Kopi, of course, as we commemorate 13 years since that massacre. At the center of it is the issue of economic justice and just highlighting structural inequalities when it comes to some of the inequities with regards to, payments that miners receive. We're looking at the aftermath, of course, as justice is still awaited and what the impact this has had on families and those who've survived, obviously, who have been killed and also injured. We're bringing you rolling coverage on the SABC as we continue. So I believe Lebogang is there. Pebe Lebogang is there also with a different vantage point to bring us some more action. Lebogang, good morning. We've seen the picture being painted, and 13 years later, we still await accountability and justice. But as we're speaking, what's happening on your end?
Thank you very much. Good morning to you and the viewers at home. We are coming to you live from Marikana. Now, Marikana town is a town of a stark contrast where, on the other hand, we have lucrative mines that fuels the country's economy. And on the other hand, we have impoverished informal settlements where residents continues to live, some of them under dire conditions. We understand that most of these residents from this informal settlement behind me, the Nkaneng informal settlement, have mentioned that this is the informal settlement that was earmarked by the government since the tragedy of Marikana Massacre 13 years ago. Promises were made to improve their lives, however, they still remain to live in these dire conditions. But to get more context on that, we will be joined by one of the residents here who will also explain to us the service delivery issues and how they affect them here in Nkaneng informal settlement. You must remember that Nkaneng is few meters from the Kopi where some of the mine workers, or rather 34 mine workers, were shot and killed. Maitso tla ke tsena go dumedise ke go amogele mo SABC News. Wena o ka re tlhalosetsa gore seemo sa thebolo ditirelo sentseng mo kgaolong ya Nkaneng.
Nama ndikubolisa bhuti ndiyazibolisela ne. Ingxaki esinayo i-service delivery. Uba nibona ba sisahlala emikhukhwini asikabi nazo izindlu. Sekhona izinto ekukhulumente kumele basenzele zona, like asakhela izindlu, amanzi, zikhona phana pha into bakuyalungiswa indlela zikhona, but seninzi izinto ezisaleleyo ekumele bazenziwe.
For how long now have you guys been promised to be built houses and roads as you've just mentioned now?
Sekulixesha elide.
Thank you very much, Mama. Now, this is one of the residents here highlighting the state of service delivery here in Nkaneng informal settlement, just few kilometers or rather few meters away from where the actual commemoration is taking place. But for now, it's back to you in studio.
Thanks, Lebogang. Let's continue to monitor those developments, of course, as we bring you rolling coverage there.